Okay, thanks for having me here. My name is Jeffrey So. I'm Chief Security Officer at Coinplug. Coinplug is a blockchain tech company based in Korea, and we are sponsoring this event, and we are also one of the tech partners for Busan regulation-free zone project. So it's my honor to be able to be part of this discussion with all these special experts in custody. I believe the custody is one of the basic services should be provided to the users and investors in a very safe way in our crypto industry. So from that sense, it is very valuable to discuss about the custody. So let's start our discussion with by introduce yourself briefly and your company, and can you share your view about what the custody is and the desirable role of the custody in the crypto industry?
안녕하세요. 우덕수입니다. I'm Glenn with Ledger APAC. Ledger is a company that was founded in 2014 from Paris, and we have 3 business lines. So the first business line, as you may have used before, we have the retail hardware wallet called Ledger Nano Series (SNX). We have the institutional custody solution, which we're going to focus on today, called Ledger Vault, and we also have an IoT solution that kind of protects the communication between object to object. When it comes to custody, I think it's a fundamental problem or a fundamental issue to solve in this industry, because we've been seeing a lot of hacks, and that is net negative for everyone around here. So security, ease of use, and scalability is, I think, the way to go for all of us. Thank you very much.
So I'm Alexandre Kish, CEO of Onchain Custodian, ex-NYML and Swift. So I moved recently from the traditional banking space to the crypto space because I believe in the tokenization of the economy. And custody is what I know best, so I think it was a good way to join this industry. So Onchain Custodian is a digital asset custodian based out of Singapore. We do custody as a service, so we have the technology, but we offer a service to crypto exchanges, crypto funds, family offices, projects, high net worth individuals, so institutional players or qualified investors. And what is custody to me, and I'm not going to repeat what you said, obviously cybersecurity is the core of what custody is, but it's also about transparency and neutrality. So being able to provide transparency on holdings, for example, to the investors behind the asset managers, providing transparency to the investors behind the projects, being able to say that these amounts are being kept in escrow for future usage, being able to provide reality checks on effectively what is in custody and what is not in custody in a segregated fashion is very, very essential. And that's something that we're trying to bring from the traditional banking industry and custody industry into this industry. Just a small to finalize, I'm also co-chair of the, I'm thinking about that because co-chair of the GDF custody working group, and because collaboration is very important between custodians, and we are working on the code of conduct and as well as all the standardization initiatives in that space.
Thank you guys, it's a pleasure to be here today. This is Kayvon Kiristani. I represent Coinbase's institutional business for the Asia region. I'm based in Tokyo, been with the firm about 2 years. So Coinbase offers 2 flagship platforms to our institutional investor base globally. One is a trading platform called Coinbase Pro. The other one is cold storage as a service custody platform called Coinbase Custody that I'll be describing in a bit more detail today. In terms of the question about what custody is, I'm sitting next to a guy that has 18 years of experience in traditional custody. I don't have a ton to add, but I will say one thing that I don't think has been mentioned thus far, which is that in addition to the key role of safekeeping, keeping the assets safe, a custodian also needs to provide basic asset servicing. And what that means is the ability to pass on the full benefits of ownership of the asset in a way that hides the operational complexity from the investor. So in traditional finance, it means things like processing stock splits and rights issues. In crypto finance, what that means is taking care of things like hard forks, providing staking yields, providing borrow and lending services, and all these types of things that are super important.
Hello everyone, this is Roberto from Cybavo. I'm based in Taipei. First of all, let me say it's an honor to be here as part of this panel. At Cybavo, we are a private key management company. We have been developing mostly a custody platform, software-based custody platform, a technological platform for enterprise. So we are providing private key management and custody of the assets, but also management of those assets. From my perspective, custody is all about trust. We need to provide trust to this industry. We see that the industry is affected every time there is some news about hacking or about misbehaving of some of the actors involved in the cryptocurrency assets. So I think it's custodian or platform provider's responsibility to develop, to emanate this trust to the industry.
Any expectation you have in mind? Yeah. Any of you? Yeah, all of you.
I think it definitely need to go through regulation. That's why it's gonna help to somehow develop the industry as a whole. And as Kevin was saying earlier, right, it's not about the share of the pie, but how large the pie it is, right? And I think regulation is gonna be very important to reach a larger audience and adoption of custody, right, for digital assets.
Yeah, my view is that, custody will evolve in such a way that safekeeping is increasingly just taken as sort of a table stakes, sort of take it for granted type feature. Asset servicing will become an increasing point of differentiation. But ultimately, I don't think custody is going to be a sexy, talked about topic in 5 years' time in crypto. At least I hope it isn't. And I think it'll be an important utility layer to support the entire ecosystem. It's a foundational building block to support all sorts of other products and services like margin finance, borrow and lending, derivatives, you name it. And so it certainly has a lot of strategic value. One of the reasons that Coinbase is investing so heavily in custody is because of so many different types of other products and services that can be built on top of it. So that's where we see it going.
Thanks. I agree with you that we won't be on stage in 2 years because custody is a very boring topic, to be honest, and it's always been. But there will be specialized custody conferences where we will meet around among custodians. So, and in 2 or 3 years, I think traditional custodians will be in this space more than they are today, either through collaboration with existing crypto custodians like us on stage or on their own. But I do see that as a trend, and I do think that there will also be less of us, like there will be less of crypto exchanges, either through consolidation or through bankruptcy. It just makes sense. It can't, I mean, I heard how many exchanges are there? Probably like 300 or 400 exchanges. That doesn't make sense in terms of liquidity. Fragmentation, I think 50 custodians doesn't make sense neither in terms of efficiency.
So like what Alex has said, I think, obviously traditional custodians will come into this place and we see collaborations happening with the technology providers as well as the, third-party custody providers that have experiences in this field. There's going to be collaboration, but also there's going to be different, I'd say, types or tiers of custodians. Just like in the traditional markets, there are custodians that are taking care of the wealth management fund or hedge funds money, whereas there are larger custodians that are servicing different multi-assets for larger asset managers. So, these different custodian types will find its place to service the market. From technology perspective, I think it will be more standardized, and it's going to be more streamlined, between the frozen to the cold, to the cold, to the warm, to the hot. Who knows, it could all be consolidated into a standardized technology at the end.
Thanks for listening to our discussion. And we're going to be around here next couple hours around the venue. So if you have any questions, feel free to talk to face. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.